This hunt here is an archery elk hunt in western New Mexico. Vast amounts of public land, some pretty tough country, and some of the historically best elk herds in North America. Elk hunting by its very nature is a difficult hunt. You don't find many easy elk hunts on public land. This hunt gets to be a little more extreme because no vehicles allowed, no ATVs, nothing like that. So anything that we do, it's going to be coming out on our backs, it's going to be hoofing it, it's going to require a lot of leg work, and it's just going to be a tough hunt. New Mexico manages for quality. It's known for these vast grasslands, but yet high mountains. And I'm going to hunt both. I'm going to hunt the high mountains and the dark timber, the ponderosa, the deep canyons. And if that doesn't work, then I'm going out to the grasslands where people say, you aren't going to believe it, but you're going to see elk out in these places where there are no real elk habitats. When I showed up here, first thing I did is I looked at those big tall mountains and I said, that's where the elk are going to be. I spent my first day scouting up there, finding where the roads were closed, everything else. Listened, heard one bugle, I think, saw a herd of elk on a ridge. I'm thinking to myself, this is it. This is the spot.
Saw some elk on this ridge this morning right at daylight. Absolute perfect spot for them to spend their day. Well, I've only had this one day to scout. And right now, I'm worried. This is so thick. It's so hot during the day that the elk are not bugling at all. I think they're doing all their bugling at night. We got a full moon. This is gonna be tough. There's a water hole about 3 miles over those ridges, and I might just be forced to go sit that water hole all day during the heat of the day.
I gained 1,200 feet of elevation and I'm just sweating and I'm listening and I'm listening. Don't hear nothing but very faint bugles. Very disappointing. All my scouting effort was invested in hunting this taller timber. And I could tell it was going to be a difficult strategy.
But I'm elk hunting. So who cares about how difficult it is? In the scouting, saw no elk up high. Out on these bald grassland knobs out here, every time I look I see elk out there. Who cares that there's no vegetation and that they'd see you coming for 500 yards? Why didn't I go after those elk?
I said, you know what? I really have nothing to lose. I only had one day to scout. I'm going to count this evening as a scouting mission. And I headed to the grassland. I'd heard from some of the biologists and game wardens I'd talked to, and I also heard it from a guy at a gas station down at this little town. And they all said, don't give up on the grasslands. You are going to see elk out in those grasslands. Nobody archery hunts them because there's no cover and it's hard to get in on them. But don't discount them.
You know, a lot of people will email and ask me what kind of sign do I look for when I'm out scouting. That's the sign I'm looking for right there. You know, most people think of elk country as big, tall ridges, deep bottoms, tight cover. And that is classic elk country, and that's where I scouted the first day and where I hunted this morning. Heard hardly any bugles. Now you're gonna see me out here in the short grass about that tall, with a few scattered trees for shade and cover. But I'm gonna chase some elk, I think. If I got to, I'm gonna sleep out here. Oh, it just taken me about 45, 50 minutes to came all the way across this high end of this bench to because the wind is blowing just wrong. So I had to get down here and get behind them, so when they come out in an hour or so, I'm downwind of them and I can hopefully intercept them. When I left the truck, it said it was 92 degrees. And I'm up at almost 8,000 feet of elevation. If I do shoot one, I'm gonna be packing out all night long because it'll spoil if I don't get out of here.
One of the things that's going through my mind is, if I shoot something in this hot weather, how am I gonna get that elk out of the hills before it spoils? And if it's in some of the spots I think it's gonna be, I've got a 3 to 4 mile pack each way, and you don't take an elk out in one load.
There's a ball right there. Another hillside.
These elk have no business being out here. But then I thought about it, and I look down below and there's a water hole. I look around and there's more feed than those elk could eat in their lifetime. So the only thing they're really missing is cover. But what they have in the form of cover is all of this escape area. Archers are not going to be able to sneak up on them that easily, not going to be able to call them in that easily, except in these little pockets where there are a few trees. So they're pretty safe.
I've been here all of about 2 minutes and I found 2 spiked bulls. I'm gonna keep looking in there. Oh my goodness, there's a big bull right now, just to the left, man.
If anyone would have told me I was going to come here, sit down, and within 5 minutes spot a bull that big, I would have told them you're nuts. But I did. With this wind, now it's changing more of an east wind. I could go along that hillside and try to just bring them in a little ways even. The best thing you can do is try to get them to do what they want to do. Don't try to get them to do what you want them to do. I don't know what is more exciting than being 500 yards away from an elk you want to put an arrow through on public land. Good news is the wind is starting to change a little more out of the east, which is helpful. Those 3 spikes are way down below him. And he's got 3 cows right there, and he's bedded right below the rocks. This is a gamble, but I'm going, and I'm going into the wind, and I'm dropping down. We'll see what happens. From my right to my left. He's already got, looks like, some sort of arrow right on the shoulder on the left side. That cow's right behind him. I know, I want that cow to move. Line of sight is 95. Actual horizontal distance on the DVR is 55. But I've got a 20 mile an hour crosswind. I'm going to try and call him here. One of his cows comes walking around and she gets downwind. The gig is up.
You see that bull? That's the biggest bull I've ever been close to archery hunting. But there is such a strong crosswind and there were cows around him. I wasn't gonna take the shot and make a bad shot. I just couldn't do it, Troy. You know, although Leopold stomped these same hills And he's famous for saying that ethics is what you do when no one is watching. Well, in my case, that's not exactly how it works because I got a camera. And I know there's hundreds of thousands of people watching. But whether I was here all alone or on camera, I'm not going to take a shot that's out of my range. I don't care how big that bull is. But that was fun.
The next morning I tell Troy, grab your junk, we're going light. We're gonna go and we're gonna set up a spike camp over in that roadless area. And so that's what we did. We hauled all that stuff over there. We get up at 4 or something in the morning. We're over there by 5:30. We're walking in the dark. And unfortunately, that morning, I was sick as could be.
Randy is super sick right now. He's laying in the trees. It's prime time. I mean, prime time.
So we sat there for about 20 minutes while I was trying to just regain enough strength to go up further up the ridges. And all of a sudden we hear some bulls bugling.
I heard him bugling in this basin.
In my mind, I'm thinking I'm already 2 miles in here. And if there are bulls bugling over that ridge, I don't care if I got a stomach ache, if I got the flu or whatever, I'm gonna climb that ridge. And if it takes me to 2.5 miles, that's where I'm going. So I climb up that ridge, look, I don't see anything. I'm like, I must be hearing things. Well then, it really wasn't that ridge. I hear more bugles. The bugles I've been hearing were really over the next ridge, which was about another 3/4 mile away. And at that point you say, well, I'm in up to my chest, I may as well go in over my head. And off we went. And we made a big circle up above high where we could look down into these draws. And we get up there and there are bulls just snorting and bugling and going nuts. And there isn't a tree anywhere around them. I think I counted 17 cows, 2 spikes, and a really big herd bull. And now I'd found him. We're thinking there's no way we can sneak up on a bull with 17 cows. The odds of us calling him away from those cows, close to 0. And in the interim, I hear this little bugle right down the lip below me. And I look and I can see the back of an elk. And I look and I see another elk. There's 4 raghorn bulls just 150 yards off to my west. And I told Troy, I said, you know, we should set up the Montana decoy and see if we can call one of those in. It took a couple calls before they started paying attention. But all of a sudden, all 4 of them are like, hey, wait a second. I've got an arrow nocked and I'm on the draw, ready to go. And I can hear these other bulls behind us just tearing it up. Not just the herd bull, but a couple other bulls. And I'm thinking to myself, now what do I want to do here? If this one comes in, do I want to shoot?
Here he comes, he stopped right there looking at me.
He's locked right in on me. And I'm thinking, you know, I might take this.
I can shoot him really easy. He got straight downwind of me.
And at that point, I'm thinking, you know, here's a young bull. He's tensed up. He knows I'm here. I'm probably going to let him go. And I did. Troy and I were sitting there under the shade of this pinyon tree, and I'm glassing. And out behind the herd bull, about another 400 or 500 yards, I see another bull that's bedded right up against this rock ledge, trying to keep the shade on him.
There's a bull right where the sun is coming onto that ledge right there. It's bedded right underneath the rocks. I think I can get on him.
As Troy and I are making this stock, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This is quite a gamble. because if I get the wrong wind direction and that herd bull and all of his cows smell me, they're going. So I drop my pack, I knock an arrow, and now I'm excited. So I keep going, step by step. If you step on the grass, it's so loud. So I'm looking for rock to rock to rock. And I'm going and I'm going. And I get about 10 feet from the ledge of these rocks, and I'm looking. I'm like, where'd he go? He's not here. Where'd he go? Right up here somewhere. There's his antlers right there. I got these rocks right in front of me. I need him to stand up so I can get a shot at his vitals. He has no idea that I'm here. We stand there for probably 10 minutes. And I tell Troy, I said, I can shoot him right here. I can shoot him right in his bed. Troy's like, no, that's not fair. Let him stand up. What the hell happened? Oh, hell, he's right there. I just shot a really big bull at 2 yards. Spot and stock, 2 yards. Oh my God. I am a lucky guy. So after all the the humility of all of this and it's sinking in of what had just unfolded, you kind of get that slap in the face of, wake up, Randy. It's 80-some degrees. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You owe it to this bull to get every ounce of meat out of here and not let any of it spoil. Troy and I have done this 100 times. We are carving and cutting, bagging, boning, packing stuff, hanging it in the shade of the one little tree that was there. We load our packs. By 3 o'clock, we're on our way out with the first load. All right, first load. I shuttled the other quarters up here to the shade. So they're sitting in the shade with the wind blowing on them. I'm gonna take this load. Me, we hunt for meat first, pleasure second, and trophies third. So that goes out last. .45. Took an hour and 10 minutes to get here from the truck, going uphill. I'm whooped. I don't care what it takes. This is the last load. I need a break. 2 more hours. 2 hours, 2 hours. Thank God for wild elk and wild places. Almost seems like a fantasy. The sun is setting on another amazing on your own adventure. Thank God for New Mexico. Thank you so much.
The truth behind what you really see is the cameraman normally does all the work, but the guy over here, he gets all the credit for it.
I'm blessed to have a camera guy like Troy Batzler. Troy's hunted a lot. He's an experienced hunter. When he's not filming, he's usually hunting.
He's given me elk hunting advice. I'm about ready to give him video production advice.